Hello and welcome to episode 20 of Royal Oak Comics Party. Thank you for joining us today. We have in the studio with us Lisa P., the world famous painter and a musician and Instagram personality. Thank you for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. We were just talking about how none of us want to be here and we're all really tired. And we ruined your day off, or you took a day off to come in and hang out with us.
I switched my day off. I agreed to it 2 weeks ago, and I've regretted it ever since.
So what have you been doing in the last 2 weeks, besides regretting your decision to go on this show?
It's hard to say beyond that. I've been recording my band, Rogue Satellites.
Cool.
That's been taking up the majority of my time.
Are you recording a new album, or what are you working on?
Yes.
Cool. Is it a full, long album or an EP or what?
It's a full-length album. There'd be 13 songs, I think.
Cool.
Maybe.
That's cool. Is there is it one of those story albums where like each part of each song like
it's called a concept album.
Like a concept. It's not a concept album this time. Our last album was a little bit like that, but this one is separate. It's a separate thing.
That's cool.
It's 13 separate things.
13 separate things. It's up for, one of the songs is like 3 songs, so there's a short concept.
It's just a 9-minute song or what?
Song in the middle of the album. So.
Well, that's cool. So the group that you're in now, Rogue Satellites, there's been many different kind of like iterations of this group, right?
Yes.
Like there have been different singers and different musicians who've been part of it over the years.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when did you actually become you became the band?
It's hard to say.
When did you kick Jay out?
Jay's still in the band. He started in the band. I started in the band about 3.5 years ago. That's also when I started playing music at all. So it's been a tough 3 years for me.
You regretted it for 3 years.
Yeah. No, all of his band members quit at one point, and he was really frustrated. And he was like, he really wanted to keep the band. He really wanted to keep the band name.
Yeah.
That was very important to him.
Yeah.
And we were a couple by then, and we were driving somewhere, and we were both kind of singing in the car, and he like looks at me and he's like, "You have good pitch." And I was like, "I know." And then ever since then.
You had never let him know that before then because you were afraid he was going to ask you to be in the band?
Yes.
You would be singing like.
So ever since then, I've been in the band, and I've learned to play a couple songs.
That's cool. Did you have to overcome some like image things of like, well, it's just one of those bands where he hired his girlfriend to like be in the band or whatever.
Yeah, I made sure that I wasn't only playing tambourine, although I did do that a lot.
And you guys were like kissing a lot on stage and stuff?
No, yeah, that it was kind of hard not to become that stereotype, I guess, or not to feel like that stereotype. But I think as time went on and I got more and more involved, we're all past that, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, totally. And I think it sounds the best that it has throughout all the other people who have been in it.
I would agree.
Sure. So what do you play? You play the ding 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 ding.
I play. Yep. That's one of our songs.
I think it's called Ding Ding Rectangle Flip Out Box.
Yeah, that's a glockenspiel.
Okay.
It's just bells, like a miniature xylophone. I also play keyboard, and I started to play guitar a little bit. We ordered a bass guitar for me 6 months ago that I haven't received yet, so thanks, musician's friend.
Musician's enemy.
Yes. So I'll maybe be playing that in the future too.
That's cool.
And some tambourine.
Awesome.
Are you in touch with them about that? Because it's like a whole drama that's unfolded on the internet of you guys waiting for this.
You keep putting up like pictures of like an empty case, like sadly, like.
Yeah, I got the case about 3 months ago.
So you've been learning on the case. Slowly.
Yeah. Actually, Jay ordered another bass just so I could start to learn on it because we didn't have a regular one. he's a gear hoarder. And no, I've written several emails to one of their employees.
Has the font size increased each time?
I'm staying pretty calm, but I've noticed that some of their competitors got the base in stock. And I kind of was like, why don't you guys have it? But it didn't do anything. It didn't help me get it at all.
It didn't help you at all?
It didn't.
Is the base that you ordered, like, you guys have a lot of cool, like, 1960s stuff, like, in your house, and you kind of collect, like, vintage cool stuff like that? Is the base that you're getting, is it something in that vein? Is that why it's hard to get?
It's kind of a reproduction of an older instrument, but
they're also reproducing the amount of time that it took to make it in that period.
Yes, but it's kind of a cheap version of it, so it still sounds good though, and that's all. I played one at Guitar Center, but it was the different color, so I didn't get to buy that one.
Probably could have painted it by now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of unique, but it's not super special. It's only a little bit special.
Well, they're just increasing the specialness. The longer you have to wait for it, it'll probably become more special.
I hope so, because it's been we ordered it, I think, December 1st.
What? December?
And the new ship date is May 7th.
So it's closing in on time.
It is,
now.
but the last time it did, I didn't get it. So who knows?
Well, we'll tag Musician's Friend when we post this video. We'll tweet it at him.
Then I will never get that bass.
Musician's Friend gotta get on it.
You'll either never get it ever, or you'll get it like
tomorrow.
the next day.
Right.
Is it worth the gambling? We could try it.
Yeah, because if not, I could just order it from someone that actually has it
All
in
right,
stock.
we'll try it.
Okay.
We have a listener
Thanks.
base of at least 20 people. So
Okay.
I'm just kidding. It's
That'll
like
help.
10. So you, So you do music. You play around in Detroit.
Yeah.
Not play. You play shows, and you guys went on tour a little bit, right? You went on to like New York and a couple other spots. Right?
Last year we went to New York, Chicago, Dayton. We've played in Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, kind of the Midwest area plus New York.
Did you have any weird like scenarios, or like did you end up in any like weird spots, or did you mostly just stay at hotels and not weird
No,
stuff?
we try to stay with people that are also playing, so we don't have to spend many dollars on the trip. But I guess every situation can be a little bit weird because you're basically coming into someone's home that you just met. Most of the time, some of the people we've developed relationships, longer than that. But sometimes you just kind of we're like, hey, can we stay? You got a house? you got a floor? And then they allow us.
Say yes.
Yeah, they allow us to stay with them, and the sleeping arrangements vary from the floor to the couch to like
Dog
a
beds.
private guest bedroom.
That's cool.
Some people are like, really cool like that. And so you never really know what you're gonna sleep on, I guess.
Yeah. Do you when you're driving, do you travel around with other bands, or you guys just go by yourself, or what?
We usually go by ourselves. We did do a show with The Filter in New York, I think 2 years ago. That was cool. They came out for that show, but most of the time it's just us. We have all of our gear in the back of my minivan, and me and Jay are up front, and then we're good to go.
That's cool. So you're also a painter, like one of the only like super fine art, realistic painters that I know in my life.
Thank you.
And you're very good too.
Thanks.
So do you want to? How did you get into that? And did your parents tell you were stupid or crazy? Or that your parents are cool?
They were pretty supportive. I guess I've always, that's the thing that I've done the longest, is drawing and painting. I went to college for it, so they had to be pretty supportive. However, I do think that my parents kind of thought that I would get a design job afterwards. But I was very much focused in like fine arts and painting and
Yeah.
you know, sculpture and printmaking. So I don't think that they understood that there was like not a whole lot of crossover there. My design skills are minimal.
When did they finally lose hope?
Probably about a year after I graduated.
They're like, "Fuck, she's still painting."
Yeah. Yeah. No, they love that I paint, and
Yeah.
it's all good now. But there was some like, so when are you gonna get a real job? And
Yeah. You gotta break them in like slowly, you know.
yeah. But yeah, I've done that the longest, and like I said, I went to art school for it, and I had a studio ever since I graduated, and so I've always been painting and doing art shows. And
So what are you working on, any like a series or something right now?
I do have a solo show coming up in September, but the work for that is to be determined.
In December, you said? Or
September.
Oh.
Yeah, even closer.
So you didn't determine any of it yet?
No, that's kind of the plan, is to
Wait till the end?
I'm consistently making work, but I'm not going to determine what's actually going to be in the show until probably that week.
Oh, okay. So you're not going into it like with an idea of, here's the theme, I will just make paintings on this
Right.
theme. You kind of just paint and paint and paint and then
Right, which
put
is
it together.
Which has been my process in the past. Like I did a series of like 100 party cups, and
Oh yeah, they're like crunched up and
yeah.
like they're like a small paintings
Yeah,
like that big
yeah.
or so. Yeah, that was cool.
and different still lifes and paintings of people and all sorts of different scenes. And I've kind of started with concepts and then had the show to represent that concept. But this is kind of trying to let the concept evolve from just whatever I want to do that day in the studio, you know. So there's been like some watercolor happening. There's been some wax varnishing happening. It's all very exciting for
is
me.
that?
Probably very boring for anybody else.
What's wax brandishing?
Varnishing, brandishing.
Wax barnacles.
It's just a process where you would put like a type of wax over what you painted. Like I did it over
Is this
a
with
watercolor.
oils or the what? Okay.
But you could do either.
But then
And
you put more paint on top of it, or it's just like makes it shiny, or what?
you could, but I'm just using it as like a kind of like a clear coat, but it's very matte and it's kind of foggy. So it's just kind of an effect layer.
It makes the painting harder to see.
Yes.
I need to do that to all my art.
That's my plan.
That's cool. I don't know. I think we may have talked about this before, but I can't remember anything. So like, some of your paintings, or I guess kind of a lot of your paintings, it almost looks like it's just a little. It's like not little, but it's almost like a snapshot thing where not everybody's even looking at you as the like viewer. That people are kind of looking away. It's like a picture of a bunch of people's butts at like a baseball game or something like that.
Yeah,
it's cool. Is it coming from you actually taking those photos and then painting them, or is
Yes.
that okay? Some
Yeah.
artists, they won't like tell you. They hate when you ask them if
like
they're
where
doing
their
it from a
source
photo
material
or
comes
whatever.
from.
Yeah.
Well, it's a very traditional thing to not work from a photo and only work from live models. But that's kind of a part of my process. I think of it the same as doing a sketch. Like I'm photographing things all the time, and then I go through them all the time, and I'm like just looking at different compositions that I like. So if you hang out with me, there's a good chance you'll end up in the background of some painting, or maybe in the foreground. People don't always know until after it's done.
Are you gonna paint that picture of me drinking energy wine at that party?
Possibly.
That
it's
one came
very,
out pretty good. This is creepy.
It's very dramatic, the lighting. It's very creepy. I
That
like
means
doing that too, like visiting the photos that you took after a party, and like you don't remember what photos you took at all, and it's like a surprise.
So alcoholism is like a part of the process.
Oh yeah.
Basically. Okay.
Oh yeah. When is it not?
I agree. So like if you're at a party with Lisa, what you should do is you should steal her phone and take 1,000,000 pictures of yourself, and that will increase your possibility of like becoming a painting.
Fame and fortune.
Yeah.
But some of the stuff you select to become paintings seems almost like the action doesn't take place in the photo or in the painting. It's almost the absence of like the extremely exciting
Yeah,
thing.
like the after the party shots.
Aftermath.
The aftermath. Yeah, that was kind of I mean, it's still ongoing, but that was kind of like a separate series where I had like the happenings or occurrences, and then I had the aftermath.
Oh, okay.
I think I called it leavings.
The leavings.
Yeah.
Crumbs.
Sounds more like droppings.
Droppings.
Now that I say it out loud.
So like spilled
Yeah,
cups and water.
Cups and
crap everywhere.
beer cans and a half-eaten turkeys, and one of them, like, it was like after Thanksgiving. I just found it interesting, like the stuff that gets left behind, and then there's nobody around to clean it up.
Everybody just leaves.
Just taking pictures of it, and then I go. Yeah. I'm not going to get invited to any parties
and
now.
not cleaning up is all part of your process. If you want to be an artist, this is what awaits you.
This is what you do. Yeah.
It sounds awesome.
It's a good life, I must say.
It's a good life. So where you're painting and where you're practicing for Rogue Satellites is all in a place in Corktown called Corktown Studios.
Yes.
And you guys you rent part of the space there and throw shows and stuff like that. What has that been like?
Yeah. It kind of started. So one thing about art school, or maybe the one I went to specifically, once you graduate, it's like, where are you going to get your studio at? And like everyone's kind of like trying to secure their space. And so I ended up securing my space with Jake and Allison, who are the owners of the studio. And I didn't know that, I knew them through a mutual friend, and she was in the space as well. And she moved out, so it's just me, Jake, and Allison. And then Jay, my bandmate, moved in. He was having his practices there before I was in the band, and then
it was like his secret spot. And then you moved in.
Yeah, well, it was my secret spot first.
Oh, you had that.
I had the space,
and then he
moved
practicing
into the space to practice in. I allowed that to happen.
There was like a shareholders meeting where you're like,
Yeah. Yeah. We had to think about that one a lot.
Really? Well, is it just because you want to like have your own secret spot to do painting stuff?
Yeah,
or?
I mean, your studio is like your second home. It's like where you can go to like not be distracted by anything. You can, put your phone in the other room, or even turn it off.
Unheard of.
Yeah, it happens, and so having your partner in the space was I was a little skeptical at first, but it works out because we're on totally different schedules. So we were at the Russell Industrial Center at that point, and we were really sick of that. We stayed there for I think I was there for about 2 years. And
was it during the time when it was all like weed growers and people just trying to steal weed growing supplies and stuff like that?
Yeah. The whole
There's only
floor.
2 groups that were in.
The whole floor
I think that's what
smelled.
it's like now, isn't it?
And we definitely like had people coming in and being like, "Is this where you get the weed at?" And we're like, "No, this is an art studio." And it just wasn't conducive to what we needed. Like, they didn't have heat, and it got super cold in the winter. And
your paint is just drying on the brush.
Yeah. And so we decided to kind of look for our own building that was, or at least a different space. And we found the space that we're in now, Corktown Studios. It's in North Corktown, and we've been really happy. We may or may not be expanding soon.
Yeah, I heard that is cool. Into like the other side of the building?
Yeah, there's like a little section, a little sliver of the building that we don't have access to now, and hopefully we'll be able to.
What's going on in that section?
We don't know.
Nobody knows. I've never seen. Nobody even goes in
Yeah.
there. Do they?
I haven't been in there
You
yet.
gotta kick that weed growers out.
Yeah. Not again. No. So we brought on 2 other artists to share that space with us, and we still kind of had room for a gallery. And that's when we started doing exhibitions, not only of our own work, like the studio members' work, but just outside artists too. We bring in and
Yeah, that's cool.
do
Like
shows.
you've had some cool shows there. Is it all local people, or do you have some out of town people throw shows there? Or I don't know if you call it throw shows for art.
hold an
but
exhibition.
Hold an exhibition.
It's mostly local people. We're definitely open to non-local people having shows, but it's just harder to coordinate because, you know, they would have to be, you know, come here and have money to come here and
Yeah.
really want to do it there. So
Do you get local people who come in and they just present you with things, or do you reach out to people who you've seen at other places, or who finds the people? Is it you or some of the other?
It's a
people
little
there, or
bit of everything. We have you can submit a proposal to us to have a show, or that's usually the way. But a lot of times when artists have shows, they bring their artist friends, and then they come up to me and they're like, "Hey, I want to do a show here," and then I have to like look into like, is this feasible for us to do?
Right.
We're pretty limited because it's all of our like. We all have a day job, so
Right.
we have to be sure that if we do something, we can do it well, and we have the time to do it well. So we can't do whatever comes our way. So we do have to be kind of choosy, but we try to get like a good representation of different artists from kind of different groups of people, and yeah.
Is everybody who has part of the studio space in on that process, or is it just like a couple of you who are interested in doing the gallery show stuff?
It's mostly myself and Jake and Allison are in on the process, but anybody who's a studio member is allowed to do whatever show that they want. So they do shows, and they also recommend people on a pretty regular basis, like, hey, you should contact this person. And it's easier that way because then we know them, and we kind of trust them, and we know that they're gonna like do a good job.
What's the best show that you had there? When did the most people show up, and did it get too insane? Because it's not like a humongous space.
Yeah,
Like, do you ever get it too packed out and crazy? Because I've seen it pretty full a couple of times.
It's been pretty full. We've had good attendance pretty much at any show. But people are pretty respectful, so if it starts to get crowded, we haven't had any like people knocking over things or anything like that yet.
That's because I haven't been to too many of them.
Yeah. Well, we did almost have on our first show at all. One of our movable walls almost fell over.
Those horror walls.
The horror
it's like
walls.
Big
it's
heavy
like
one?
the big
Yeah.
Mario thing
Yeah.
that smashes you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like Indiana Jones stuff. Well, you have them
That
like,
was
bolted
well.
to
That
the
was
ceiling
before
now, right?
we learned to bolt them to the ceiling. That's how we learned that lesson.
Because you murdered someone.
I think I was on the receiving end of
You were
that one.
squashed.
I had to hold the wall up. No, no one was hurt.
That's good.
No humans or animals were hurt. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to say whose show was the most popular.
What was the worst one?
Probably mine. My
good
first,
answer.
my first. It wasn't the worst ever, but it was our first show ever. So it was kind of like nobody really knew who we were.
They just didn't know about it.
Yeah, and in retro, it was. I shouldn't say our first show. It was the first single person show, solo show was mine, and I had this brave idea of only showing 3 paintings. They were really, really large paintings, but
Yeah.
it was still kind of like I just wanted everyone to like focus on just those paintings, but I probably should have had more work.
Or you should have gone like way over the top and like strapped people into a chair so
Yeah.
that they couldn't look away and
Yeah.
that they just can only experience one painting at a time.
I think it went well for a first show, but there was not a ton of people there.
That's cool. That's bold.
Yeah.
Do you have any other stuff coming up there anytime soon?
On Saturday.
This Saturday?
This Saturday.
All right. Well, whoever watches this show this week
Right.
will be able to go.
Yeah.
What's happening this Saturday?
What's up?
We have a show of 2 CCS students. They're doing their thesis show. It's during the Art X gallery crawl,
Oh, yeah.
which is another cool thing that's happening Saturday. So it's kind of earlier in the day. It's from 1 to 7 p.m.
Is that where they put a big sticker out on the sidewalk?
Yep. That's where you see the stickers at. The gallery, I mean, Art X has been going on for the past, I think, 3 weekends, 2-3 weekends, and they have just a ton of different events. And then I think this is the last weekend, and it's just a big gallery crawl.
Cool.
So a bunch of the galleries are having, special things going on, and hopefully people come to them and
Cool.
support.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. We
you.
appreciate it. And we'll see you next time on Royal Oak Comix Party. Goodbye, everybody.
Carmex party.
Carmex Party.
It's so hot in here. It's Boyle Oak's comic. Boyle Oak.
No.
Party.